Well, hello and welcome to Business Today Television. Today we're doing a special on aviation, and while the budget season is around the corner, aviation is one such sector that, of course, has been during turbulent times, especially during COVID. But last year has been quite a miracle for them with the kind of developments that the sector has gone through. To talk more about this, I'm joined by Mr. Lenish Patel, who's team lead at CAPA India. Thank you, Lenish, for joining us on this conversation on Business Today Television.
Thank you, Karishma, for having me.
Lenish, first things first, what does the industry want from union budget? Isn't, I think, already a lot of cushion provided to them in last 1 year?
So aviation industry has always been expecting rationalization of direct and indirect taxes, especially in terms of inclusion of the ATF in GST and with full input credit taxes. The other things that it would like is there are other duties on airlines for provisions of spares during maintenance events for Indian MROs. Although there hasn't been a direct stimulus or a package that is given to the aviation industry in the past year or so during COVID, however, anything that helps the industry is always welcome.
Okay, great. So this is certain kind of tax concessions, and of course, ATF under GST is a long pending demand that they have. But keeping in mind that how their finances have panned out in the last 1 year, I think, would you agree that airlines, especially the domestic airlines, they've started to do well now when it comes to, because looking at the high passenger traffic numbers, it looks like seats are usually booked now.
That's correct. The traffic has been back to pre-COVID levels. Also, currently, we see that the fares are slightly higher than what it used to be pre-COVID. However, that doesn't mean that it's going to stay the same, right? So with new entrants, with increasing capacity, and airlines trying to get higher market share, there is a possibility of dilution of those fares, which essentially loses. You are into losses. So the industry also have to keep in mind that with capacity, they also have to keep a track of the fares and to gain a profit at the end.
Well, right. The industry, like you also said, of course, is facing these losses, and it faces an issue of liquidity when it comes also on low finances. What do you think can be the way out of this?
So undercapitalization has always been a persistent weakness for most of the Indian carriers. This is even before COVID. And during COVID, it had a devastating impact on their financials. The only way out will be a strong recapitalization for the sustained operations of the airlines.
Okay. Now, last year, it was a year of goods because we had the Maharaja being sold to Tatas, we had Akasa had come up, but it was also a year of bads because the existing ones faced a lot of problems. If you see, a lot of safety audit issues that were found, especially in the mid-year where DGCA had taken stringent actions. How do you see these issues going forward? Because it's something that's not just a national concern, but also an international concern.
That's correct. And safety is one of the most critical factor in the industry. And regular audits and surveillance is the central thing for an orderly growth. And we will prefer to see more institutional response to audits across the industry and based on best practices. And that's something that needs to carry forward as well, even in 2023.
Right. Does CAPA India also work on this perspective? Are they involved in suggesting something to the government or preparing any reports?
Not directly, I think, but we do have some recommendations given on based on some of the work that we have done. We do have some recommendations that have been given to the industry and as well as the government.
Okay, great. One last question, Lenish, before I let you go, and this has to talk about a bit about the good side of it. we're looking for a challenging, what do I say, price war in the air in the coming year, because we have Air India, we have Vistara, we have a new airline, Akasa, Indigo, of course, has been there, SpiceJet has been there, and there could be revival of Jet Airways. How do you see this competition panning out for the whole domestic Indian aviation sector?
So if I talk about the next coming year, so let's say FY 2024, it's possible that in many ways it is challenging, we see, especially with strong headwinds from high inflation, high interest rates. You have currency depreciation, supply chain issues, and there's of course the threat of COVID that is still there. And we can't forget the significant geopolitical challenges that are already there. Though, again, given these headwinds, we do expect the sector to grow in the coming year, but it's largely dependent on these external factors. Air India, which is under the Tatas now, will continue to focus on their growth and customer service, and we will see progress quarter after quarter. Akasa Air, which will be almost 30 aircraft fleet by the end of FY 24, and hence we will see quite competition from them as well in the industry. While regarding Jet Airways, resumption will depend on the clearance from NCLT and the availability of significant funding that they can gather.
Yeah. No, thank you. I think I'd agree with all the kind of predictions you've made, but with Jet, definitely it seems a little dicey situation because they've been really trying hard to pull through all the legal battles. But thank you so much for joining us on this conversation, Lenish.
Thank you, Karishma.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.